Hello and welcome to another My Music video. I'm Tom Lawrence from the Whole Music Service, and for this video and for the next few videos I'm going to be using some notation software on the computer, and I'm going to be using a program called MuseScore. The reason for this is that it is a very good program, it works very well, it's used in lots of schools and it's also free to download. So go and have a look. If you haven't already got some music notation software on your computer, have a look for MuseScore and you can download it for free, and it will be very useful for you when you're trying to develop your musical ideas and develop your composition. There are lots of other programs you can use for music notation. Some of the most well-known ones are called Sibelius, Finale, and also called Noteflight. But these are all more expensive. There are some free trial versions of them that you can download, but MuseScore is completely free, so that's the one that I would recommend. If you're working on a tablet or a phone, then some of the apps are slightly different. Noteflight definitely works on your tablet and on your phone, so you might need to look around a little bit more for some different kinds of notation software. But if you can, have a go at downloading MuseScore, and that's going to help you with your work in these next few videos. I'm going to also attach some MuseScore files for you to use, so that you can have a go at doing the same things that I'm doing in these next few videos. So look out for those on the web page connected to this video. Okay, so here we are on MuseScore, and the first thing we're going to talk about again in this video is melody. And the first thing I want to do is just talk a little bit about what we're aiming for when we're writing a melody. So I've got some examples of melodies on the screen now, and I'll play them for you. I'm going to talk about them and give us some ideas about the sort of things that we're looking for when we're writing a melody. So for all of these examples, I'm using C major. There's no sharps or flats. Just keeps it simple, but this would apply to any key. So the first one, this melody, I'll play it for you. Then we'll talk about it after we've listened to it. It sounds like this. So there's nothing wrong with that in itself. It's a very simple melody. It sounds a bit like a nursery rhyme. The only thing that makes it not particularly interesting maybe is that all of the notes are moving stepwise. So there's no leaps at all. It all only moves to the next door note. It just goes up and down in steps. That is fine, but it does tend to make the tune sound pretty simple and maybe not so exciting. This next one has kind of got the opposite problem. You can see it's leaping about all over the place, and that means that it's going to be very difficult to remember this melody. It's going to be difficult to play, certainly on certain instruments, but it's also just going to be hard. It doesn't have the same flow that we're looking for often when we're writing a tune. It sounds like this. So there might be times when you want to write a melody that leaps about a bit, but often what we're trying to do is write something that's going to have a memorable, easy to remember shape to it. This next one hopefully has a better combination of steps and leaps. It's got some movements and smallish leaps. Most of the movement is still in steps. It sounds like this. And the final example is just to very quickly say, if we're writing a melody in a particular key, for this example we're using C major, so there's no sharps or flats in the key signature. If we add in too many accidentals, we lose the sense of that key. So we need to be careful if we're adding in notes that are not in the key, so we don't make our melody just lose its sense of direction, and this is an example of that. So on this screen, I've got some rhythms written out just using one note to start with. I've used the note C, because it's still in C major, no sharps or flats in the key signature. And this is just an exercise having a go at writing some melodies. So thinking about the things we talked about, having a smooth shape. We're just trying to make something that we like the sound of. So all we need to do is click on a note at a time, and we can move it up or down using the arrow keys on the keyboard. I'm going to avoid, to start with, using any accidentals. So when I move it up, it wants to give me the next chromatic note. So if I'm moving up from C, it'll go up to C sharp before it gets to D. So I'm going to avoid those accidentals for now. I'm going to try and create a melody just by moving these notes up or down, mostly in steps, adding in the occasional leap and trying to make a melody that I like the sound of. So here's an example of that first melody line. Now I've created a bit of a shape to it. It sounds like this. So all I'm trying to do is just move the notes into a pattern that I like the sound of. So just to give you a very quick example of the next one. So here we've got a rhythm that starts out. So I'm thinking with those first 4 notes, I might try and give them a bit of a shape. So rather than all staying in the same place, I'm going to get them to do a run going up. So maybe starting from the G up to the C. So now I'm going to listen to that and see what it sounds like. I can just press play or hit the space bar or like this. Or I can actually move along with the arrow keys 1 note at a time. Or back again. So that's the start of my melody. That's fine, but the C, 2 C's in a row is no good, so I'm going to jump that note up. Let's try an F. That's great, but then when it jumps down, I don't think the C is right there, so maybe let's have an E. That's nice. Happy with that. Then that seems like it should be a D. These are moving just nicely down in steps. Then those 2 quavers, I'm going to give them a run up again, just like a bit like the shape at the beginning. And then those last 2 crotchets in that bar, where do they need to go? Let's try that. That's nice, and then that leads us into our long note, which maybe can stay on that C. Yeah, and these last notes in this bar, I think they need to be running up again. Try that. Not bad, those last 3 notes now, let's think. I'm going to have 1 above, 1 below, and then finish back on that home note of C. I'll try that. It's quite a big jump there from the E down to the G, but it creates what we call a perfect cadence, G to C at the end. So let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, it's not bad. Maybe I don't want to finish quite yet though, so I'm going to move that last note from a C. So instead of it feeling like it's reached the end of that melody, I'm going to give it a sense that it's going to continue. Still that last note's not quite right for me. Let's try a different one. Yeah, maybe the D is better. Yeah, I like that better. So all you're doing is you're just trying to find a shape that you like the sound of. So we're looking for a smooth, easy to remember flowing line with not too many leaps in it, but we're just trying to find something that appeals to our own ears, to our own sense of musicality. So when we listen to it, just try and tweak it until we find the right note that matches what we hear in our heads. So have a go at doing some of those yourself, and you'll have some melody lines that you can then use to form the start, if you want to, of a more elaborate piece. And we'll talk about more of things you can do with these melodies in another video. Best of luck.